speech here. I'm powering up all the different platforms here. Hey, everyone on social media, Jade Simmons here, still claiming to be your one and only truly independent candidate for president of the United States. I just wanted to come to you officially and close this thing out right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm not going to be before you long because this is family time at my house, and I'm tired of missing all the family time. So I want to actually catch more than the closing credits of whatever movie they're watching. So I'm not going to stay before you long, but I know it is tradition that for the candidates who do not win and have no chance of winning to come on and give you a concession speech. We're supposed to concede defeat. Here's the problem with that. How in the world can we concede defeat when we have had so much victory? So yes, we lost this race, but there's no way in the world that I can call what we've done a failure. Someone asked me on Twitter, don't you think it's better to just suck it up and deal with one of the major parties instead of having a campaign that hardly gets seen? No, I don't. Anybody can do that. What we have to decide now as a nation is that we are done settling. See, we discovered so many things on this journey, which is also victory. Some of the things were hard to see. There are a lot of things we saw that we can't unsee. But it would be hypocritical now to just retreat into our shell after seeing what we've seen: injustice, corruption, suppression, candidate suppression, voter suppression, media suppression. For us to retreat now just because our initial race is over would be not living up to our declaration that we are people over politics. You see, what we're doing now has to be bigger than politics. So here's what I'm going to do. First, I want to just, before I get on all the soapboxes, I just want to thank people because people is why we're here. The people is why we're here. Thank you first and foremost to the incredible Operation Restoration team. We were a concentrated team. Other campaigns had hundreds upon hundreds of workers behind the scenes. We were a concentrated team, and we all wore multiple hats. And I could not be prouder to have worked alongside these folk at Operation Restoration, because they picked up the vision. They carried it seriously, enthusiastically, in spite of all the odds. I'm so grateful for them. I'm so grateful for the volunteers. Thank you. If you volunteer time, energy, expertise, we had incredible advisors behind the scenes. I am a bookworm. I love to consume content. So what was awesome was to pair that ability with the knowledge. Listen, there is wisdom and an abundance of counselors. So whatever you got going, do not go it alone. I don't care how awesome you are. I don't care how stellar you are. I don't care if you're a loner, a rebel, a maverick. Get you a team of people who know more than you do. Let's pray that whomever our next leader is will do that same thing. So thank you to all of the volunteers and the advisors for the time that you put in, the effort, the energy. Thank you to all of our supporters out there. Listen, if you supported us by way of prayer, we love you. We appreciate you. If you supported us by way of donations, financial support, we love you. We appreciate you. If you supported us by way, again, of time or simply helping us spread the word, do you know that anyone who knew about us most likely did not hear about us from the media? They heard about us from you. From you. That is huge. We don't have the official stats now, so I was hoping to bring you more about the counts and how many votes we got, but we think that we got votes in every single state that we were registered in. That was without millions of dollars to be on the media, which means you guys did that. Like, seriously, you did that because you told people where you were. You told them on Facebook, in your churches, in your families, you told them. And because of that, we're pretty sure we'll hopefully confirm in the next 2 or 3 weeks, because remember, with write-in votes, we tried to let you know this in advance. Most states don't even count their write-in votes until the end. Some states don't ever count the write-in votes unless it was a number large enough to change the outcome of the election. So it's going to be a while, could be months before we actually know where all of our votes came from. Ballotpedia has some stats, but it's mostly in the states that we were on the ballot. Thank you to all the Oklahomans who saw our names and voted for us. Thank you for all of our voters specifically. I am not going to forget the pictures you've been sending of your ballots. Some of you saw the one on Facebook with the young little African-American girl holding up her fist in excitement because she told her dad, she was only about 3 or 4, I think. She told her dad she was going to vote for me because she was going to vote for the woman who looked like her. Listen, that's victory. Do you understand that when kids who are coming up, our future generations, see themselves in their leaders, they can see themselves as leaders? That is huge. We had a couple of ulterior motives. What other candidate is going to tell you all their ulterior motives? We had a couple of ulterior motives. One was that we wanted to inspire people to do big, bold things, no matter how impossible they seemed. We didn't want you to wait around on the approval of people or an invitation from anyone to upset their paradigms. Nobody's going to invite you in to disrupt. And so we hope that we've inspired you to disrupt in your own way, right where you are. That was our ulterior motive. Another ulterior motive we had is that we wanted people to now begin the process individually of freeing their vote, right? That we shouldn't have these politicians sitting around entitled to our votes, that we should be mysterious figures. They shouldn't know where we stand because of the color of our skin or our gender or our religious affiliation. They should have to work for our vote. And we hope that we've set a model for that as well. Thank you to all of the voters. Thank you especially to all of the independent media personalities out there. You guys went above and beyond. Many people only know about us because they saw us on your podcast, right? On your YouTube channel. Listen, people have probably told you, what are you doing that for? Everybody and their grandma has a podcast. We were so thankful that everybody and their grandma had a podcast because you had us on. And many of you said, listen, it's not about endorsing you. We just believe your voice should be heard. So thank you for those who've done that. Some of the celebrities as well that have brought us on. Again, people know we're here mostly because of you, our supporters, and especially as well because of these independent media personalities who've said, look, we just want to tell the story that should be told. There is literally an act, Fair Coverage Act, where the news media, local, statewide, and national, they're supposed to show all of the candidates, at least all of the serious ones that are campaigning, have a website. They didn't even follow their own rules. So we thank you for those of you who worked independently to do that. Okay, again, I want to be able to bring you stats very soon. We're going to keep our eye on this because we want you to know what the finish really looked like. We're pretty sure we got votes in all of the states that were registered in, and that was a big feat. That meant a lot for me, for my team, because they were on the ground in these states making sure that we were filing. We did have some challenges that we weren't able to win. We saw some shutout in California. We really believe we saw illegal activity in Indiana. Here's the thing. I like to finish what I start. So if I saw injustice and I saw evidence of oppression that we believe is also voter oppression, there's no way I can go back and be quiet about that. So we'll get into right now what's next. Let me just back up and say to the voters, to all of you who voted for us, listen, we were only planning for this. How my team works. We only plan for the win. We have transition and everything, right? We knew who was going to be our national security advisor. We had our justices picked out because that's how you plan. Listen, do not be intimidated by outcomes. Do not be scared to prepare because of fear that you might not get where you were going. You can never do yourself wrong with preparation. Ever, ever, ever. The people that we've met that were going to serve in our cabinet, serve as our advisors, serve on our White House staff, we collect those people because they're incredible. And so what's next for us? Many of you, I see your messages, I see your inboxes, I see your posts. I'm chilling from social media for a while. I'm probably going to take most of the rest of the year off in many ways, but I hear you. You want me to run again in 2024. The way that we have done this thing so far is we don't make a move. For me, I don't make a move without a serious season of prayer and fasting. You better believe I'm going to do that. The worst thing I can do to something that I felt was truly divine is to go in now and get my hands all over it. You see, so what we do is we take a step back. I encourage all of you going into this end of the year, don't plan hastily for 2021. Look how much of a shakeup 2020 was. Instead, what you're going to do is take the time, hibernate, You're going to have a lot of ideas come into this season, and that's awesome. But don't move hastily. You want to know that your next steps are ordered and that you're on the right path. But I do hear you. I want you to know I'm not ignoring you. I hear that you'd like me to run, but 2024 is a long way from now. What I mean by that is there's a lot of work to be done. The reason I didn't wait until 2024 is I thought that it was arrogant of us to believe that people who were suffering currently, whether it was in poverty or under injustice, under systemic issues, it was arrogant of us to tell them to wait for real change for 4 years. So we're so excited to announce that Operation Restoration, which started really as a movement and a ministry, operated as a campaign, will now officially become a movement and a ministry. So we're so excited that all these platforms and policies that we put out, we're going to look to work in them, right? Why have all these great ideas? We had ideas, guys, that were people-powered policy. And we had seasoned politicians ask us, where did we get these ideas from? Because they hadn't seen them. That means you're on to something, right? You're on to something. So because we know we're on to something, we're going to be looking to work in many of the areas that we created policy for. So you better believe we're looking to look at new ways to tackle homelessness, new ways to help build a pathway out of poverty for millions of Americans. I have now, and I know my vice presidential running mate, Claudelia Rose, have become extremely passionate about criminal justice reform and building a road to restoration. And as always, one of my number one issues is still race relations that I feel, unfortunately, will be exacerbated no matter who the next president is. You're already seeing red and blue position against each other. You're already seeing the Senate, if it is a red Senate, it's going to position itself against a blue president and vice versa. What does that mean? It means stalemate for so many Americans. And that's one of the reasons, number one reason that we were running was because we didn't believe that government anymore was currently set up to actually serve the majority of people. So we're looking forward to working in those areas. Many of you join us on Rally Cry. We're not doing that for a few weeks. I got to get some rest. But I love teaching the word. So you can expect that I'll probably come back in some way, shape, or form and do that because it's important to me. But mostly you'll see us working in the areas of our platform. We had a third ulterior motive. Our hope was that other non-traditional candidates would rise up. We just encourage you now as this year ends and we get ready to go into a new year and a new season. Ask yourself if you might be right to run for office. It doesn't have to be president. But we really believe that if you want to see change in government and politics, we have to put some new voices in office, some fresh blood, some new innovative vision. And I happen to believe that it's not going to come from traditional spaces. So don't disqualify yourself, right? Because your background's in music, all right? Or because you're a minister or a teacher. Listen, I think our new wave of leaders now will have to come outside of the confines of Washington, D.C. I think there will have to be people who are maybe new to politics, but they are experts where leadership and getting people to move powerfully are concerned. And we may play a role. No promises yet, but we may play a role in helping to rise up these new candidates and help prepare them when it comes to really cultivating a message that's going to resonate. We're excited about that. All right, so 2024, no answers there yet. Listen, there's a scripture that I love that says you really shouldn't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. And I think in the world of politics, you shouldn't let your left or your right know what's happening. So we as a team are really going to power down, seek wisdom on this thing and decide what to do for the future. But we're not going anywhere in terms of impact and in terms of servant leadership. If you want to stay in touch with us, you're going to still text RESTORE to 33777. If you say, listen, if you run again, I want to be in on this thing. Text that number now. If you say, listen, I love the platforms and policies. If you're going to be working in that area, I want to work in that with you. Text RESTORE to 33777, and you'll be the first to know what our next moves truly are. But mostly I wanted to come on and just thank you. And look at your comments really quickly. If I see hate, I'm going to pass you up because I'm not even wasting the energy right now. But if all of you who are telling me that you voted, thank you so much. We're so glad that so many of you were inspired. Thank you Africore Media, proud to have represented you and will continue to. Thank you. And I'm looking forward. International. We're doing a lot of international stuff coming up, which we're so excited about. That's what I was doing a lot of in 2019. And I'm looking forward to bringing the message of restoration internationally. Some of our supporters were not from America. They were outside of it. And so we're excited to partner with many of these people. Hey, Dr. Gail, I see a lot of our teammates on here. Keep pushing forward. We support you. Thank you so much for that. We need to create a marketing strategy that will make her go viral. Listen, we have seen a lot of stuff, right, that we can't unsee. And we will spend some time figuring out how to break this system that is broken when it comes to serving us. And that includes the media, which it was a very disappointing thing to see how bought in the media was to either the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. It was really disappointing to know that the media had fallen asleep at the wheel in terms of really doing what they're supposed to do, which is bring you the full story. We know without a shadow of a doubt, if America had gotten to really see Operation Restoration, we'd be having a very different conversation now. But I'll tell you what, wisdom, knowledge is power. So we know that's half the battle. We're excited to use what we found. Hey, Girl Boss Offices, I'm honored that you named the Purpose Room, that was inspired by my purpose statement, which is, your purpose is not the thing you do. It is the thing that happens in others when you do what you do. That was our other ulterior motive, which was to awaken purpose in everyone who dared to join up with us. We thank you so, so much for that. I'm excited that you guys voted vision over fear. Don't worry, you'll be old enough next time to vote if we run again. We're excited that people went, went to the polls and voted vision over fear. That was one of our big goals, looking at comments now on Facebook. That was one of our big goals. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being proud of us. Claudelia was incredible. She was dynamite. She came on and added so much credibility, I think, and intelligence to the campaign. Thank you all for welcoming her so powerfully as well. Kim, I'm glad that the bravery inspired you. I'll tell you what, my team has a couple things that we say. Well, first of all, we'll all never be the same. We were here in Houston having kind of a farewell brunch and nobody wanted to go home and everybody just wanted to start working right away. And I had to force them, no, take some rest so you can receive these divine downloads and make sure you're taking the right next step. But we have a couple of things that we believe now without a shadow of a doubt. Nothing is impossible. Like we know that. Listen, aside from the win itself, the stuff that we've seen behind the scenes has been so miraculous that you can, first of all, never convince me there's not a God. Like, you couldn't convince me before. You definitely can't convince me now. We believe in miracles. We've seen them on the road. We've prayed for people in cities. We've done our best to bless those that have been in need, and they have blessed us back by their sheer presence and their support and their loving kindness, their words of encouragement. We also will never take no for an answer. We have learned you don't have to take no for an answer. Whoever's telling you no is just the wrong person. That's all. They're just the wrong person. You just need the next person who will get you your yes. Like we don't even believe in no anymore. And we also understand that it's not your resume that qualifies you, right? It's your character, it's your experience, your background. And if you have the wisdom enough to combine those things to make yourself who you need to be for whatever the moment is requiring. I'm looking, yeah, it was rough not being in my home state, Shell, not being available. But you can't get any more biblical than that, right? I mean, come on, what an honor to be like Jesus in that way, right? Like you go back to your hometown, they're like, who are you? What are you doing here? Listen, you have to learn how to rejoice in rejection. If you understand that rejection is actually, and people have heard me speak, have heard me say this, rejection is actually divine protection, protecting you from the devastation of the wrong yes. You understand that? When you understand that, you get so excited about doors closing in your face. You get so excited about people telling you no. We were ghosted a lot this year. We got some radio silence from people who we thought would be our biggest cheerleaders. Listen, when you're moving into whatever that next stratosphere is, the people who are going to surround you and help you may not look like who you thought they were going to look like. So instead of drawing up who you think your team is, be real vigilant and just watch for who is magnetized to what you're doing, right? Some of the people who maybe even used to coach you or mentor you or minister you or prophesy over you, may not be able to see what you're doing in this season and get it. I see the hearts on that one. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? So you're going to have people who told you years ago you are going to do really big things. Then when you start to do the really big thing, they're like, not that big, right? It's not man's job to understand your growth. It's your job to understand your growth. How am I not in office already, Hannah? Because I'm not a politician. I promised that we would come out of this not looking like your average politician, not speaking like your average politician, not pandering like your average politician. And there's victory in that we still recognize ourselves as individuals and as a team. Our hearts are intact. We've had to pray for our hearts because people are rough. People are rough. We've had to pray that our hearts stay soft while our skin was tough. Okay. I've never had so much joy interacting with haters. Can I just tell you, there is something so rewarding about blessing those who curse you. Also, you have to understand that when hate is thrown your way, and we got this, that it really is a product of fear. So our biggest victory, and I'm ending now, is we believe that the people who went to the polls for us overcame fear. They overcame intimidation. They overcame bullying. I saw the treatment some of you got. Some of you lost friends over this thing. Some of you got cussed out in your inboxes. Some of you media personalities, your audience, they came for you just because you dared to have me on. We applaud you for standing up in that way for what you believe. We applaud you for going to the polls and then shouting it from the rooftops. And we believe now that this contended race that you're seeing is the continuation of the division that we've been warning about and saying it was time to do something differently. And what we saw is that there is no way we can continue to go this way, continue to force two choices that nobody truly believes in down the throats of the majority of Americans. We believe that that 60% is actually much larger, and that the majority of the nation no longer believes that this two-party system serves them well. When you have information like that, you cannot retreat into the shadows. You must not. So we're going to use that information and we're going to move forward powerfully. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Nathan, for voting for us in Tulsa. We did good in Oklahoma. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Daryl, one of our advisors there. We've been just so blessed. Thank you for voting for us in Virginia, Daphne. That means the world. Gabrielle's asking, 2024 presidential run, right? It's still early. 2020. We're focusing on impact for right now, right? We're focusing on impact for right now. We'll see what happens, but we know we're not going anywhere. That the stuff we saw, we're going to have to deal with. And even if we're not dealing with it from the White House, we believe that we are called to be a part of the restoration of this nation. And so those of you who voted for us, who stood with us, who said, I can't vote for you now because I'm a little afraid, but I'll see you later. This is later. This is later. If you think that the climate of this nation is going to change for the better when one of these two major party figures is announced as president, you got a whole other thing coming. Do not be naive. What this season requires is for all of you to behave presidentially from now moving forward. I need all of you to just pretend you're the president, right? Just be the president in your home. How would the president speak? How would he or she walk? How would she minister and serve people? What if the majority of the nation leveled up right now and said, wow, we have all this stuff fighting out, all of this pretend contention that, let me tell you, is a way to gear up more fear for 2024. Can I just keep it real with you before I go? Almost everything you're seeing is manipulated. And we learned that and we were appalled by it, which is why we're not going anywhere. We can't take that knowledge and the stuff that we see and saw and continue to allow the rest of this nation to be hoodwinked as they have been. Your votes have been manipulated behind the scenes to force you to vote in a way that really was against your own interest. And after knowing that, there's no way we can be quiet about it. So we're not really going anywhere. I'm going to take a break for the rest of this year, be with my family. I saw Renita Calhorn on there, fellow concert pianist. Look what I got. Goldberg variations to keep me busy, to keep my mind, which is already having 50 million new ideas. This will keep me centered. I'll be me and Bach for the rest of the year here. And I encourage you all, hibernate in this season. Do not allow your peace to be stolen with the outcome of this election. Whatever the outcome is, do not give up your peace. Do not. Election day was the start of something. It was the start of a new era. It wasn't the end. So don't let voting be your last act of impact. Don't let it be the last time you raise your voice against what you know is not right. Don't let it be your last act of civic duty, but now begin a lifestyle of impact and purpose and leadership. Rise up. If you want a new America, then you need to look like something new. That's it. That's all. I love you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sure I'll be I won't say I'm sure. I'm sure I'll be around pretty soon, but right now I'm just going to veg out. Anybody who knows me knows that I love onesies. I'm going to be in a onesie for a few weeks here and enjoy my family and my friends. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for allowing us into your heart and allowing yourselves to catch the vision. All right, guys, have a good night. Keep in touch. Text RESTORE to 33777 and you'll be the first to know what our next moves are. All right. Have a good night.